Hey RATBAGGERS, it's Jade today giving you a lowdown on Jump Ship. I've been keeping my eyes on this one and I've just revealed tentatively a release window and maybe what other platforms you'll be able to try it on, as it's going to be launching in early access this summer. They've got sign-ups right now for a beta that you can take part in, and this is definitely part of my watch hit list in the future. I definitely want to get my hands on this. Imagine a cross between something like Sea of Thieves, Deep Rock Galactic and good fashion shooters. But of course, instead of sailing the seas or digging in mines, you'll be traversing space as well as landing on different moons, planets and more, trying to get loot from facilities before your ship gets blown up. Jump Ship is a mission-based co-op with up to 4 players. You can transition seamlessly from crewing the ship to on-foot exploration and spacewalks, engaging in intense battles both on the ground and in space, and always keep your ship upgraded and intact. So that's the blurb from Steam. They've just announced and shown off these trailers as part of also Xbox ID, and that's where you're going to be seeing this maybe release potentially at the same time as Steam or soon maybe afterwards. No mention of PlayStation just yet. It does look like this co-op game is going to be one of them that hits early access and then has a launch on Xbox with their game preview program. The makers of this game, this studio, are former founders of other games and studios like Coffee Stain, the makers of Satisfactory, Minecraft and Mojang, not to mention a bunch of other games that they've all previously worked on like Castle Wolfenstein and a whole lot more. So they've definitely got a lot of experience, and from what I'm seeing from this gameplay trailer, it's looking pretty bombastic. In fact, it looks like there's so much going on. I'm a bit overwhelmed by how much is going to be on screen at any one time, as you're facing shots from various different spacecraft having a dogfight. While one of you pilots the ship and tries to stay out of trouble, the others will be repairing, upgrading and trying to fight off any of the smaller little crews. It is going to be a PvE experience. There's a little talk over, one of them cheesy ones that they usually get actors to do. Although it does sound like these are the actual devs doing the voiceover themselves. So I'll leave a link to it if you want to hear their actual in-game reactions properly. But it's really cool to see a nice big fleshed out pure gameplay. Absolutely, it's been edited a little bit just for brevity and time. But we get a glimpse of like a 3D printer making different modules and upgrades. There's going to be pizza with pineapple, yes, God's food, actually for you to go ahead and digest. And there's a lot going on. Trying to establish who's going to be the pilot. Are we all going to be taking turns? Having that role between you and your friends is something you're going to be battling it over with. They've come across some sort of freighter or a group of patrolling ships, and they're basically going to be defending themselves against attacks or trying to get extra loot. Everything is so fast paced. It reminds me a bit of Titanfall in terms of the combat and the actual aiming down sights and running around. You'll be using a grapple hook as well as a thruster pack to board enemy ships, take them down and grab the loot. And yeah, it definitely looks really cool. Really streamlined, obviously very sci-fi. I love the movement and the actual differences. You can see there the ship kind of hit us back, then we went from first person back to third. It does look like the majority of the game will be first person, apart from their moments where you are using the thrusters. But I love the idea of landing on an enemy ship to maybe get a bit more detailed about it, try and get into certain places that you just wouldn't be able to by just simply blowing it up with your guns. Lots of robots to fight. I haven't really seen too much about fighting anything other than maybe mechanical components and robots and stuff. Maybe there will be some life that you'll have to take care of at other places. It is going to be session based, and from earlier previews and reviews they spoke a lot about how some of these might take a while to get through. There's going to be multiple destinations that you'll be able to go through on these mission runs. Big selection of weapons. You can see here this like homing launcher that they're using on a spaceship as it flies through, and eventually they will be able to go and grab some loot. And then of course when your ship takes damage, it's about making sure part of your crew is at least repairing or trying to stop it from happening. Literally putting a thumb out here saying please come and pick me up, and then grappling onto the ship to hopefully get a fire extinguisher and start putting out flames. This is the part that really reminded me of Sea of Thieves. Obviously if you've ever slooped out the water in that game, then you know what to expect. Does raise the question though, what if you don't have a full party? How is that going to be balanced if you end up playing it on your own? It's not a single player game. I'm not expecting Starfield or Story or any kind of that stuff really catered for just one single person. The clear focus here is to do this and play this with your friends or maybe lobbies. But we all know there's times when you just want to chill on your own, or maybe you are just a lone gamer that likes the look and style of this game. How is that going to be approachable for you? They're the things I'm not sure we're going to find out until actually we get some hands on with the beta, like I said, that you can sign up for now. So I'm going to leave the link to that in the comment section down below so you can go and sign up and check it out. But really cool stuff, really fast paced, gathering this loot, gathering guns directly from the wreckage that we've maybe just blown up. And then more environmental dangers, like a solar flare that if we don't get inside our ship right now, we are going to be absolutely cooked. A glance at the UI and stuff, you can see you've got 2 guns, looks likely a main and then a sidearm, with maybe a limited amount of actual bullets. You can clearly see players in your ship with like a little ghost line outline, which is really cool. But yeah, just about made it out there before they got roasted. We do see the target at the top of that UI there, the drifting debris, so you've got a clear idea of what's in front of you. And yeah, really showing off some really cool stuff. Now we're jumping ahead to the munitions shipment, and we're going to go and try and basically raid this place, which is going to be a bit more on foot exploration. Left hand side of the screen showing off the speed, the right hand side there showing off the boost. I'm guessing the top left is always the health of the ship and how many actual shields it's still got left. Loving this like radar image, or I guess X-ray image of the area around, and potentially radioactive kind of anomalies or environment where you have to actually soup up the actual ship with something that's going to give a bit more protection. It's got all assault turrets as well, so that might be the answer to how you might be able to play this a bit solo or maybe as a duo or trio. So I imagine there might be some extra bonuses or ways that solo or single players might be able to use that to their advantage. And definitely you see parts of it where you can get in pods and start shooting as if you was on like the Millennium Falcon. So here you can see the direct turret being taken over by a player. So the actual ship driving, it does seem a bit slow and a bit jolty here sometimes, which is understandable. It's not meant to be like a TIE fighter or anything. It's the ship that's going to house you and your team as you go on these missions. Then it cuts to maybe having to go and put out a fire in a corridor as the main ship goes around trying to take care of the enemies before boarding this giant freighter. So games like this, it's really important to keep things fresh. How are they going to manage the progression? What's going to keep players coming back after just a few sessions having fun with friends? But what is the hook that's really going to drive you? Is it going to be finding exotic weapons and gear and upgrades? Are there going to be ways to buy new ships and obviously get new weapons? Or is it simply a case of finding and crafting your own? I don't think it's really planned as like a live service game, but it's obviously got room as a co-op game to give more content to players as they want it. So maybe not to the level of something like Deep Rock, which did have like these seasons of content eventually. Battle passes are more. This seems to be obviously in its first stages. So yeah, trying to make sure that players come back for more than just one fun night, that's going to be key. The rewards and the progress and that accomplishment as well. Balancing all that is something that's hard in co-op games like these, where there isn't maybe as much story, obviously. There isn't a crafting or building element, the survival element that some players like. But it's a bit more open world. Even though you've got direct missions, you can approach them in different ways maybe compared to sort of traditional co-op games where you see usually things like shooting zombies, like Left 4 Dead and stuff like that. Although I hate using that comparison because Jesus Christ, how old are them games? But maybe more apt is games like World War Z most recently, or Back 4 Blood. Different unique environments, different types of enemies, challenging scenarios, and really different types of levels that really enhance and give something fresh to do on each run. That's what something like this also needs to provide. This freighter does look massive, and it's all on a timed limit basis as well. You can see the top there saying time until reinforcements, guessing you don't really want to stick around. It does look really free flowing, like there's just so much going on, jumping around, using the grapple hook, and then breaking into places. Somewhat disappointing to see we only carry just this tiny little box. I think it would be cool if it was more digital kind of heist going on, that you have to put in a master key to download 1 billion cryptocurrency or some shit. There's nothing better than that little time limit of going like, hold on, I'm trying to get as much as I can, and everyone's outside saying, no, come on. I'm like, I'm nearly there, I'm nearly downloaded it, just wait. I think that can be just as interesting as grabbing just one kind of yellow tiny little crate. We do get to see a bit more variety in the guns, and that's going to be really paramount as well. Not just the typical assault rifles, but shotgun and handhelds as well. I hope they lean into this, like more sci-fi stuff, like bullets that can sidewind or home in onto enemies. Really make things like elemental and stuff to freeze enemies and stuff. Some usual tropes that you've seen in a billion other games too, but it's the kind of thing that makes it or elevates it, I think, above beyond just shooting pew pew. Other ways that you can create your own loadout or character so that you're going to be some sort of elemental main if it's got something like that. Or just the typical munitions, shotgun, or maybe explosives guy. They're the kinds of things that I think will make a game have a bit of life to it as well, being able to delve into subclasses and find other ways to equip your loadout. But for sure, it's frenetic, it's fast paced, the shooting does look really cool, it definitely looks great, no janky aiming going on here. See clear hit markers on the screen telling you someone's behind you or in front of you, and obviously you can still keep track of the ship if it's in trouble. Hopefully there might be more room for puzzle elements as well. Maybe some of these facilities really will be big, maybe not with such a time limit on it. Maybe abandoned ruins that you have to solve something a la Destiny. As much as that game gets some flack, some of the raids and stuff that you have to do in that, it was always fun trying to work out exactly how to progress or open up the next section. And I'm talking a lot here about what this game could potentially have. Obviously they're a small tiny team, no matter the experience they have got. I do believe it's like literally only a studio of like 10 to maybe 15. It could be even less than that, I'm not 100% sure, but on their website definitely lists at least the 4 or 5 sort of main founders that joined from other companies. So yeah, it's going to be something that I definitely want to keep my eye on. I'm hyped for seeing all this gameplay, it's making me excited. I'm definitely going to be tapping up my Valheim dev friends to give this a shot for sure. And I have gotten signed up with like 3 of my different emails to hopefully get a spot on the beta experience when it comes out, which I'm guessing won't be too far away given the game is meant to be releasing in early access this summer, and again on PC, and by looks of things not 100% confirmed just yet, but on Xbox as well, given it was shown up on the actual beta sign up as only PC or Xbox you could request. Let me know what you think about the game, and I'll be back with more first looks at stuff like this in the future.